Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bourbon Basement. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Steve.
and today we're finally going to be taking the next step in our episode series that we had going on, going from the least expensive bourbons and so on up through the price ranges. Our last episode was 1001 to $15 even. This one's going to be,
It was yeah, $15 even. Yeah,
and
I'm
now
I'm
this
sorry.
one's going to be
It's been so
15.
long.
This one's going to be $15.01 to $20 maximum. So every bourbon that you see sitting here, these were at Total Wine, I think you
Total
said.
Wine.
Every bottle you see sitting here is anywhere from $15.01 to $20 maximum, and that's flat. No 2001, no nothing like that. So everything here is under $20.
Yeah, there's a lot of good bottles that were 20.99 that I didn't come across. So we've got 9 bottles here. We're not going to taste 9 today, but if you all remember or watched any of the series, we started $0 to $10, and then we went 10.01 to 15.
Of course, there was
Um,
nothing that was $0.
those winners, of course, Very Old Barton. It
With
won
its
the
own coffee.
10.01 to 15 dollar, and Ancient Age won the under $10. Now they're still in the running because our goal, our whole purpose of this whole
It
show
was a championship round.
was to find the best bottle under $20.
Yes.
And so we started, went through the tiers. Now we've got 9 bottles here. We're not going to sample 9 today.
So this is going to be part one of three for this particular episode, and we will list them when I post them on YouTube. We will list them as part one, two, and three, so you can start from the beginning
So
when you go back to watch these.
you think 3 bottles,
I think
and
that's
then
an
but then so are we going to have 3 champions facing the other two? Or are we going to do 4 episodes to get the one champion to face the other ones in another episode?
I think this one makes sense to do three because it would be three even parts, three bottles an episode, rather than doing four one time and five another.
Okay, but so then that
I feel
leaves
like if
us.
you get to
So it's
five,
going to be a 4 episode.
I feel like if you get to five, your opinions are going to be a little more skewed just because
Yeah,
you've got so much on your palate, and
we know how that goes.
yeah.
So by the way, all these are going to be fresh cracks when we do them.
These are
Uh,
fresh off of the shelves, folks. He just got back home with these
I
bottles.
had a lot of these bottles, but I did go out and get. I wanted. So I went to Walmart to look to see what was under 20, uh, over 15. They didn't have anything.
Walmart doesn't
That
carry a lot of bourbons.
that $15 to $20 range, it was gone. So I went to Total
Sold
Wine.
out or just didn't exist.
I don't know. They weren't on the shelves. They
I
were
don't
there
think
was
Walmart carries that kind of stuff real often.
Well, I'll tell you this, some of our other ones that we did in our other episodes, the price was higher. So I don't know if the bourbon prices are going up right now.
Well, I would suggest Kroger Wine and Spirits because they have a pretty good selection of stuff around this range, but they're probably higher than what these would have been. So these are at, once again, Total Wine, which has been the best prices that we found on particular
Total Wine
bottles like
has really
this.
good
Really
prices. Yeah.
good prices. So if you were to get these particular bottles somewhere else, they may be more than $20. But for our circumstance here, all of these bottles sitting here are from $15.01 to $20. So
Yes.
we're not lying. We did get them for that price.
Everyone, 19.99 or below, really, because none of them were
We
$20 either.
suggest Total Wine. If you don't believe us, you'll get them for the exact same price that we did.
All right. So, what we're going to do to narrow it down, because just to be totally unbiased, uh,
We don't like any of these any more than others. A lot of these we probably haven't even had.
we got our little spinny wheel. Woo woo.
We've been
And
talking about getting one of these bad boys in the bourbon basement for a hot minute for other reasons other than this. So we're
so
finally getting to break it in.
there's 12 spaces on here. We have 9 bourbons, so there's 3 that's left undone. If we hit an undone one, we'll just spin it again.
You can't see, but there are every bourbon listed here
All right.
has been
So I'm gonna let you spin until we get 3. So let's see what we got. You don't have to hold it there. I got it. All right, a nothing. Good job.
okay. What a way to start.
All right, that looks like a Rebel 100.
Rebel 100. That's our first contestant of the episode.
All right. What
How
are
did
you
you jam
hitting
up
there? I
like
don't
that?
know. Nothing.
All right, two
You
out of
hit
three. Nothing again. All right, let's try it.
there. That was a good spin.
It's hitting something. I don't know
Yeah,
what. We'll have to
I've
do a
got
little bit
some
of
issues with
experimentation.
my wheel here. JTS Brown. There you go, JTS Brown. Whoop, whoop. All right.
That one's a little better.
All right. We got a winner. Let's see. Wild Turkey 101. All right. So those are the competitors this week or for this episode. These three or these six will be on another episode. All right. So let's say a little bit about these bottles.
Our contestants for episode one of $15.01 bottles to $20 even.
All right, and this is so the first contestant's going to be JTS Brown. It's 100 proof. It's bottled in bond. This is made at the Heaven Hill Distillery.
May I just add right off the bat, that is a decently high proof for a between $15.01 to $20 bottle. You don't see that a lot. Most of the time they're going to be
If you notice during our other episodes, they were all like 80 and 90 proof.
89. I think
I
90 was the
think
highest.
you get up there closer to 20 and you can get some 100 proof. So, but I bet we still have some that's around 80 or 90 proof here.
I
Just
bet you most of
all
these
right.
might
So
be.
this one is a Kentucky straight bourbon. I said Heaven Hill Distillery.
Obviously,
You want to talk about that
the
one?
names kind of give away the proofs and stuff like I was talking about a second ago on these. Not so much that one, but Wild Turkey 101. Obviously, guys, this is 101 proof. Most of you Wild Turkey fans out there have probably heard of 101. I believe we've actually had 101 before.
I thought I had that bottle when I went to get it for these episodes. Didn't, and I had to go buy it again. So I don't know if we've drank it
I
or if I
think we've
never had it.
had this and finished it.
I know we have a Wild Turkey 101, the special
Oh,
edition.
the 70th anniversary edition. Maybe we've never had the regular 101.
I don't know,
We,
but
but
this
we
is
do
1999.
Yes, this 1999 at Total Wine, guys. This is 101 proof, 50.5% alcohol, of course, distilled uh and bottled by Wild Turkey Distillery. Where are they out of again?
Who, Wild
Wild
Turkey?
Turkey,
Lawrence.
Lawrenceburg. So very local to us here in Bourbon County, Kentucky. And I think that's just unless you wanted me to read this little.
No, you don't have to read nothing. I was just
For
got a
those of
little
you
bit
that
about
know
the bottle.
Wild Turkey, you know Wild Turkey.
The classic,
Yeah.
classic Wild Turkey. I've got the Rebel 100, so it's 100 proof. Rebel is distilled there at Lux Row Distillery.
Mm-hmm. We've
Uh,
had a couple Rebel bottles.
yeah, we got a couple Rebels, so this is a Kentucky straight bourbon, and let's see. That's all I'm going to say about all of. It.
And see, I feel like your opinion may be skewed on these because you're not the biggest fan of Rebel.
I'm going to do blind.
Okay. I was about to say you're not the biggest fan. You didn't even like the Rebel 10 year that we
I'm
had
going to
all
do
that
blind.
much.
So we're setting this up on the fly, but this is not pre-planned.
No, this is
Uh,
completely impromptu.
so
So,
what you're going to do is I'm going to give you a little piece of paper. And you're gonna do it doesn't matter what's on it here, but just do 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna pour me 3 glasses. You're
is this
gonna
fair? We didn't do any of the other ones blind.
I think it's gonna be better blind. So we're gonna do the championship blind anyway. And
Fair
then
enough.
I'm gonna do the same for you. So you're gonna know which one I sample first, second, and third, and I'm gonna know which one you sample first, second, and third, but we're not gonna know what we do ourselves, okay?
So we could be tasting different ones at different times.
Yes, and that's the least important thing. We just want to make sure that it's all fair. So let's go ahead and do some fresh cracks. I'm gonna do the screw top. You like to do the cork, so I'm gonna let you do some
I do
corks.
like doing the corks.
So here's my screw top on the JPS brand.
I've already got my
This one
cork.
I actually purchased at the distillery. I tried this one at Heaven Hill Distillery, and I thought it was great bourbon for under $20, right? Toured the distillery, loved the tour there at Heaven Hill, but when I bought this bottle, like I said, they let me try it there. I bought it. It's a good bottle. I think I paid $19.99 for it at the distillery. Usually at the distillery, you get the best deal. Well, every store that I've seen this in since then, it's been like $2 cheaper than the distillery. It's like
That is a very rare case.
it is. It's $17.99 at every store I go to. 17, 18, somewhere around there. But I think I paid $19.99 at the distillery. So I was a little bit shocked that the
Don't use
distillery.
that as an example for your distillery buying pleasures because that is very rarely the case that the distillery is going to be more expensive than a retail
I
store.
will tell you this, if I didn't get to try it at the distillery, I probably wouldn't have bought this bottle to have. It would have just been one that I bought to get to collect all
It's
the
not a
Kentucky
very good
bourbons.
looking bottle.
It's just it's kind of
Very
plain.
bland.
plain Jane, just a press, a glue label and
All right,
paper and
we're
all
gonna
right,
see if
here
we
we
can
go.
get a pop.
Nice one.
Nice, crisp. That's good
Well,
for a
I'll take
$20
yeah, good.
bottle.
Yes, it did.
That's good for a $20 bottle pop. It's even better than honestly. I'm not gonna say better because if you haven't watched our live episode that we did this past Friday, we actually reviewed OKI, and it's actually the
Okie,
Oki. I call it
okie.
Oki, but I figured I'd say OKI for you all if you didn't know what Oki meant. Uh, but we did a cork pop on that one. I definitely recommend you go watch that episode because it was very enjoyable, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. But it was a crisp pop, but it was a little less than what you'd think out of it because it was hard to pull out, but it just kind of came out like I, it was, there wasn't a whole lot of oomph to it. But we'll see what Rebels got to say about wild turkeys. I
Whoa,
wasn't expecting that cork to be that short. It
that's
kind
a
of came
nice
out on me.
one.
It was both of those were decent. I
They
like
were
that.
good
I
pops.
like
All
that.
right, so let's do this blind, and then we're gonna score them.
I've already got your numbers written down for
Well,
you.
I
I can
got
have you.
your numbers, but I don't have the thing. So what I want you to do when you're tasting your first one, all right, you don't know what you're going to be tasting. So you just put down your score for number one, and then I'll tell you what you drink at that
So
after we're finished.
with these higher dollar bourbons than what we've been trying in these episodes, I'm a little more hopeful that these could actually be more of a sipper than what the other ones have been at the lower ones because we kind of either looked at them as uh, either shooters or mixers. Is kind of what our standpoint has been, which is that's kind of why you buy those. But we've also said that everyone's palate is different, and you could enjoy sipping on some regular small batch Jim Beam bourbon, $12 a bottle every day of the week.
A little bit of mix and match.
Are you gonna pour first, or you want me to pour
Yes, I
first?
say you turn around and I'll pour
All right,
yours.
I'm even gonna go off camera and plug my ears so I can't hear when he opens these.
So you're all poured.
Are you gonna go off camera,
Now
or are
I'm
you
gonna
just
turn
gonna?
around here.
All right, we're gonna put him in timeout in the corner real quick.
Like my eyes closed, so no reflections or nothing like that. But it doesn't mean you can't pour the middle one first if you want to, as we can get it right without having your blindfold.
All
Kind of
right,
funny.
you're good.
All right. So you don't know what you're drinking. I don't know what I'm drinking, but start left to right. One, two, three.
I've got a little bit of color advantage on mine, but honestly, guys, in the glasses, they're pretty close. Hmm. That smells familiar.
There ain't nothing wrong with this one. I drank this one neat all day long.
I mean, I've only done one sip so far. He was ready to drink tonight, guys. I guess. I mean, I thought that we were gonna give these guys a chance as sippers, not shooters.
I I've taken two sips already.
I got a pretty good idea which one this is.
What do you think it is?
I've had this one before. I'm pretty sure. The mash bill smells familiar. Normally, if we do our bourbon basement show, we're pretty reserved on the pours. We have really poured up some drinks. It
Well,
doesn't look like it, but I've taken three really decent sized sips and I've still got some left over.
me too.
We have really poured these bad boys. Well, your
I told you,
glasses are bigger.
you can't tell how much you pour in these black ones.
No, I think that we neglected brown a little bit. It looks like it has the least amount gone out of any of them. Not to mention, guys, considering such a cheap bourbon, it's got some tears to it. I think number one was a success.
All these bourbons are pretty big name brand. I mean, I hadn't heard of JTS Brown until I went to Heaven Hill.
If it tells you how big a pours we got, ladies and gents, we got to keep the proof down in our system here.
So my thoughts on that bourbon,
Number one.
I enjoyed the smell. Thought the aromas were good. I got that vanilla and that caramel. Uh, little bit of oaky in there.
Once again, we could not be tasting the same bourbon. We're just saying what we
Yeah.
think about this
So
particular bourbon we had.
and you'll find out at the end what it is, or maybe you saw Ryan pour it, so you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I enjoyed the smell. So then I can't see the color, so I went to the flavor first. So got my acclimation drink. Went on my second one. I already started pulling out a little bit of flavors. Got to the third one. The flavors had a little bit of spice in it, which I thought was really nice because it wasn't overpowering. I mean, it's just 100 or 101 proof, so it's not that big. But it did have a little bit of heat with it, so I enjoyed that out of that 100 proof. Uh, get into those spices a little bit and pulled out a little bit of more brown sugar, pulled out a little bit of honey, and pulled out some of that oak barrel. All in all, I thought it was a pretty daggone good $20 bottle of bourbon.
You said that you would even sip on it.
I would sip that bourbon or I didn't even try it with water. Should we get our
I don't
water
think
out?
we've been doing water with
Okay.
these.
Yeah,
If
because
I remember
but the
correctly,
others were weaker.
I don't think we've been doing water with these. We have a cat in the
All
background.
right. So what do you think of your number one?
Uh, Mine was fairly sweet, but I have a sweeter palate than you do. So that's not really saying much. It could mean that we were trying the same bourbon. It could not, but um, mine was very sweet. I pulled out a lot of, as far as spices go, I was more around the holiday spices like nutmeg, cinnamon. Uh, it's very festive. Uh, I feel like I feel like I had the bourbon before. I'm not going to say exactly what I thought it was because I've already made my guess, and it was exactly what I thought I was drinking the entire time. Uh, but it was very smooth. It coated your mouth pretty nicely, considering that it's not a very long aged bourbon. And I was really surprised by that because it was a pleasant feeling. You get the heat just a hair, guys. I mean, these are only 100 proof, 101 proof, so you're not these are still very beginner friendly bourbons. I think they're all going to be that way, but I won't speak beforehand. But I was pleasantly surprised with this bourbon, and I kind of agree. I may not have been trying the same one as him, but I agree that I could see myself sipping on that bourbon. Put it on the rocks a little bit. I mean, you don't want to proof it down too much because it is just 100, but put it on the rocks a little bit, see what it tastes like with some distiller's water. You might be onto something with whatever one we just had or whichever ones we just had. But without further ado, I guess we'll move on to number two.
All right, let's go to number two.
So once again, he can't see the color. There might be more in this glass than the other one, but I'm thinking this one is a little bit darker than my first one.
I'm getting a lot of spice on the finish, but none on the mouth feel.
I'm getting no spice at all on this one.
And I'm getting quite a bit of spice just on the finish. It kind of lingers on my tongue a little bit. But while it's in my mouth, just a ton of vanilla and a ton of sweetness.
My confidence is gone. My mind's been thrown to a loop. Uh, I can tell you one thing's for sure. I've never had that bourbon before. That was a first time for me. I don't know if you're feeling the same way. My mind's been thrown for a loop. It was still a very good bourbon, very different from the first one that I had. Uh, very different profiles. This one was all sweetness, no spices come out to me at all. The color might have been a little bit darker than the first one, but honestly, in the glasses, they look really similar than how different they look in the bottles themselves. But it was very sweet. I'm getting a lot of vanillas, a lot of sugary flavors, a very slight bit of fruitiness, and I can't even pinpoint what the fruit is. Uh, but it comes out just a hair, kind of like you get a jelly filled donut and they put like a little in the very middle of it, and you're like, really? So I mean, that one's I could see myself sipping that one too. Not as much as what I could the first one. So if that tells you anything about how I'm leaning in my rankings thus far, I think the first one was better as of this point.
Well, my first one was better too. I scored this one lower. So I don't know which one this was, but when I drank it, the smell, the aroma wasn't as good. It wasn't as stout. There wasn't a whole lot there in the aroma, just kind of a general sweetness.
Well, mine was very sweet, so we could have been having the same one.
Then when I tasted it, like I said, when it was in my mouth, I got a lot of vanilla, very little oak, hardly any smoke. And then
I didn't get any in this one either.
no, and I just got just more vanilla than anything. And then as I swallowed it, the heat kicked up, and it was surprising because it was so mild as I was holding it in my mouth
I didn't get that
that
part.
when I got it down, I had a lot of spice on my tongue. Uh, so I didn't enjoy the finish as well. I would have enjoyed it more if it was balanced all the way through. It didn't seem very balanced to me. Scored it a little lower than the first one, but don't know which one it is yet. So let's go to
No.
number three.
So number three now. Don't know if we're having the same one once again, but this is his three and my
If
three.
we poured them the same way, how ironic is that? You know that we've got to have them different.
I
There's
don't
no
know.
way you poured them the same that I poured.
I couldn't tell you.
No way. This one just has a mildly pleasant aroma of, I get caramel, so I can pick out a caramel sweetness in there,
Whoa.
but not a whole lot more than that. Just a little bit of sweetness, and I'm gonna say caramel with it.
Tickle my chin and call me sweet. Wow. That thing just bursts out with sweetness.
I get a little candied apple with this one. Have you had that with any of your three?
Mm-mm. I don't think that's bad. I honestly could
This
see
is the
myself.
first one that I'm actually pulling like something more than just sweetness, just more than caramel and
They've
more
all been
than
pretty
honey.
sweet. I will say that.
They've all been kind of sweet. I mean, this one here is interesting because I'm getting more than just one or two flavor profiles. The longer I hold it in my mouth and the longer I let it set on my tongue, I get different stuff.
I think you're having the first one I had.
This one
Because
is
everything that you're saying sounds about how my first description went. As far as this one goes, guys, just right out the gate, I could say that I could sip on all of these. I don't think any of them were unpleasant to drink, as you would think some of the non-pricier ones would be, or the cheaper ones would be. Some of those are definitely mixers. I think that these are on a spectrum where they could be very good sippers, but also fantastic mixers if you decided to mix it with something. I can imagine that all these would make a fantastic bourbon and coke. Uh, but this one is also sweet. They've all been sweet to me. This one, I'm not able to pull out a ton of other flavors other than just sweet flavors. I mean, I'm getting the honey, I'm getting the vanilla, I'm getting the butterscotch, I mean, it's a sweet tooth's dream. So if you like sweet stuff, this might be your bourbon.
I enjoyed all of them very much.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
The last one's going to rank the highest for me. Uh, but I think just because it was very interesting, it pulled out more flavors in it than I did the other two. The other two, I could pull out a lot of vanilla. I get maybe a little bit of caramel. Not a whole lot of oak on either of them. The last one, I could taste more of the barrel, I think. Had a great finish. And like I said, every time I took a sip, I felt something different. I pulled up something different. So it was the most interesting. And I'm going with that one. Let's grade our scores and you tell me what it was. All right.
Okay.
I'll go first. All right. So my number one, I scored a 15. What was it? I guessed it as wild turkey. All right. JTS Brown.
Oh, brownie.
All right. My number two,
I didn't know that we were giving them number scores. I thought we were just first, second, third.
well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can do them however you want.
I didn't really give mine rankings, just first, second, and third
Well,
place.
number two, I gave a 13. So number one was JTS Brown.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Uh, I guess that is Wild Turkey, and I gave it a 15. So number two, I gave it a 13. So it's actually last place. Uh, and I guessed it as Rebel, and it was. You said I had a thing against Rebel. I even pick it out blind.
He's not a rebel guy.
I guess not. So it was a
He
13.
might
It,
be a rebel
it got
girl.
third place. This got second place. So evidently the last one I thought was JTS Brown. It is Wild Turkey.
WTF.
I gave it a 16.
See, and
It
that
was
makes
my
sense because you ranked Wild Turkey high in some of our tastings when I didn't think it would come even
I
close.
did the Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary. It won my last
He
tasting for
loves
me.
Wild Turkey
It was
stuff.
really good. And I'm not saying I'm a Wild Turkey fan, but
Fanatic.
evidently when I do blind stuff, I like
He
some
likes
turkey.
some turkeys.
All right, so Wild Turkey got number one for me. JTS Brown got two, and Rebel got three, and I
Completely blind.
completely blind. But I will say you're going to have to score them because we're going to have to add
Okay.
our totals to get the
I
winner.
can come up with some scores real quick.
Because if you like this one the best, it was so close to this one on my score sheet, it may actually win the round. You know what I mean?
What are we scoring them on?
Whatever, you just make up numbers and judge them. If your number three got last and you gave it a 10, then you know that your second place one's going to have at least 11, and then the first place one's going to have at least 12. But if it was a lot better, you might want to give it a 14. I
I got
don't know.
numbers.
Huh?
I got numbers.
All right. So go with your number one. I'll tell you what it was.
I gave it a 13.
Your number one, you gave it 13,
And I said it was Rebel.
and it is Rebel.
I think that I've had this one before. I don't know where, but
We
I
did. We
swear
never had that bottle. We do have a Rebel, the 10-year. So maybe this is very familiar or very similar to the 10-year Rebel that
I
we
even
had.
said it right off the bat that I think that I've had that bourbon before.
Rebel 10-year. That's the only one that we've had here in the bourbon basement.
All right, the next one I gave a 10.
Gave a 10. That was Wild Turkey.
You didn't even let me guess, but I had it right.
Did you have it down as Wild Turkey? Yeah.
WT to second,
All
and
right.
then I had J to 9 or J to third,
Hold on.
and it's a 9.
Hold on. So 10.
I
So
gave it a 10, and
your
I said it
number
was
two
Wild
was a
Turkey.
10. Wild Turkey. All right. And then your number three was JTS Brown. What'd you give it?
A 9.
A 9. All right. So,
I
here's
I
how we
didn't go as
scoring them.
high on the scoring spectrum as he did. I kept mine
Well,
fairly
the
low.
first one I gave a 15, and then I just judged the other two off of that. And Wild Turkey at a 10, and JTS
Hey,
Brown as a 9.
3 for 3.
All
I
right.
said my confidence was gone, but I was hoping that I knew at least this one.
So Rebel and Wild Turkey. So this is the bad thing. My first was your last, and your first was my last.
That's how it always works. I think that when we did our last tasting, you had my Yamasaki last, and it was
So
way ahead of
this
everything
one's
else.
going to be a difficult one to because you're not going to like Wild Turkey better. I'm not going to like Rebel better.
You're not gonna like Rebel better than anything, I don't think.
So how are we going to pick a winner?
Just flip a coin at this point.
Or spin a wheel?
Erase a couple of the things and make it even between blanks and not blanks, and we'll say
Okay.
blank is one and not blank is another.
All right. So let's
Hey,
see here.
guys, just putting this out there. No matter who wins this spin, I think all of these were pretty decent bourbons for the price. Let's just put this out there right now.
If it's a blank, it'll be Rebel. If it's got writing, it's Wild Turkey. Give her a spin. Blank. It's Rebel.
Hey,
The only sad thing about it is, it's not going to do good in the other
I'll
competition.
carry it. I'll
All
carry it. All right, so
right.
guys, Rebel is your crowned winner for the first episode or the first round of three. Because we're doing a 3v3v3, so 3 rounds, 3 episodes. Rebel is going to be our first round winner out of these three first choices that we got from the wheel. Completely random. Nothing was skewed about this. I just happened to go 3 for 3 on my guesses, and he even did it blind, and he ranked it about how I thought he would rank it anyway. So Wild Turkey first and Rebel last. I thought that this guy would fall right in the middle. So ended up working out. So Rebel is going to be moving on to our, I guess, semifinals that we're going to be having on in the
Rebel
future.
will move on, and it'll face the winner of these two
That one,
rounds
yeah.
to get one winner of the $20 bottles, and then we'll face all the winners off and see
Yes.
who
So we
wins.
will do 3 rounds of the 1501 to $20. We'll take all the winners from those 3 episodes, put them in a group of 3 on their own, compare those, get a winner out of that, and then it will go into the championships with the other winners from our other lower priced episodes and see if the lower priced ones can compare to the a little bit more expensive ones.
I'm happy with all three of those bourbons.
I was very impressed with them. I'm starting to get a little more hope in these episodes the further up the spectrum we go because
That was good, and I thought that was a good battle too because they were all 100 or 101 proof. They were all real close.
I'm just gonna tell you right now that extra one proof, you couldn't tell it.
I hate that it went to a spinoff.
See, that's unfortunate. It's a 50-50, but I think considering that I went 3 for 3, I should have got to choose the winner anyway.
Well, you got your winner, so hopefully I'll forget what he tastes like and he does all right in the other
I
blinds.
doubt it. I thought it was really good though. All these bourbons,
They were all good. They were
I
all
think
good.
that they could all be considered sippers, even from bourbon drinkers that have had the higher dollar bourbons. I think these kind of hold their own. If you're just wanting something,
You know what surprises me with Rebel? I'm a weeded guy. I like the weeded less than or more than the rice,
yeah,
and that's a weeded bourbon. And I've never really been fond of it. It's always finished real low in my tastings.
I don't know what to do with them anymore, guys. I
Finished
don't.
finished
He's
low.
been really hard on Rebel,
I'm
like ever
not
since
being.
he
I
first
don't
had it.
mean to be. I don't mean to be. It just comes in last. I don't choose it that way.
Rebel's always at the. Hey, you're on the podium now, buddy. It's okay. I'll carry you to victory. It's all right. No, there won't be any biased opinions in these episodes because we're keeping it
All blind.
as real as possible. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this first episode of the $15.01 to $20 bottles. Unless you had anything else you want to say.
Nope.
We thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us a little bit of time out of your night or day or whenever you will be watching this episode. Look forward to seeing the other two parts of this particular price range episode. And then from there, look forward to seeing the other championship episodes coming forth from that. And we will see if the lower ones can compare to the little bit more expensive ones. Also, guys, don't forget to tune in this coming Friday for our live stream, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We don't know exactly what we're doing yet, do we?
No.
No, that's
It'll
for
be
the.
a
We do
surprise.
know what. Huh?
It'll be a surprise
Yeah, we do know what we're doing the week after that, but not this coming
for
week.
our Derby episode.
Our Derby episode, we do have something very special planned for the Friday before the Kentucky Derby, which will be that following Saturday. So look out for that as well. Hopefully, y'all did go on to enjoy, though. As always, why drink alone?
When you can drink with us.
We'll see y'all Friday.
See you Friday.